When you sign up for our agency, you're going to receive a welcome email that gives you a link to log into GoHighLevel and then set up your username and password. Once you set that up, the first thing you're going to do is land on this launchpad, and you want to come over to the settings button down here on the left, click on that. And then the first thing you want to do is set up your business profile. This is this page right here. You can add your logo by hitting upload, and it'll end up looking like this. You have your business profile, your business name, your legal business name. So this is how it would show up on, let's say, an IRS document. And then your email, your phone number, branded domain, if you have one, on how you want it to show up on emails and such, your business website, the niche that you're in specifically, your currency, most likely dollars, and then hit update information. Go to the next page. You'll fill in your business type, your industry that you're in, your registration ID. If EIN is what you're using, most people will use EIN, and then plug in your EIN number, and then the country or location you're in, and then come back up to the right side. Enter your address just like this. Time zone is going to be critical, so make sure this is accurate to your location. This is going to be tied into all of your calendar events, and then your language preference and outbound language preference as well. There's two options here. And then if you have an authorized representative that can access this portal for you, for example, you may want to put them over here. Somebody like an office manager would be great for this role. And then down here, leave everything as default. You should have these two checked. It's going to help you stay compliant, and that's it. Hit update information as you go through each one of these, and then you'll have your business profile all set. The other thing you want to set up is your profile. So over here under your sub account, you come over here to my profile on the left side, and you start from the top left here. So you can upload your logo by clicking this camera button. You can enter your first name, last name, phone number, and the calendar if your agency has created you one. If not, you're going to do this later. Language preference, and then your signature block for all of the outgoing emails. It'll be automatically plugged into the bottom of an email when it's going outbound. And then your password, you can set that right here. You have a button to sign out everywhere. And then two-factor authentication, which is when you're trying to log in, you may get a text message. You enter the code in addition to your username password to log in. You can also use an authenticator app. And then two-way sync. So any email that's coming into your GoHighLevel account can be forwarded to your Gmail or Outlook, and then vice versa. So you connect that right there. And then a calendar. So appointments that are coming in to GoHighLevel or your Lead Connector app can also be synchronized to, in this case, your Google Calendar. And it'll link the calendar as well, and you have the option to synchronize it both ways. So inbound calendar invites, as well as whatever appointments you have on your current Google Calendar will update your availability in GoHighLevel. You have private mode if other folks are accessing your sub account and you don't want them to see what's on your Google Calendar. You can hide those events here. And then you want to make sure your appointments are set to the business time zone, so that way they're showing up accurately on your calendar. You can set up your availability down here. Just make sure, again, your time zone is set up to your time zone appropriately. And then whatever availability you put for yourself is what's going to show as available in the calendar. So people cannot book outside of your available time. And that's how you set up your profile. Next up is billing. To make sure that your credit card information is loaded in here properly, come over here to the left side, click on billing, and then add payment method. When you click on this, you have the ability to connect through Stripe, which is a common processor that GoHighLevel uses. Hit proceed. And in here, you have multiple options of how to send this to a client, or if the client is already here, they can use this to enter their payment information. Now you can copy this link and just email it to them, or you have the ability to email directly from the platform or send it via text message. And this link is what allows the client, in this case, to click on it and then enter their credit card information in a secure fashion, so they don't have to share it with you necessarily. And then if you have the higher version of GoHighLevel, the $495 plan, you can also convert to SaaS and then be able to send emails and SMS directly from here. If you don't, you can simply copy this link and then email it to them. Once their payment is set up, you'll see over here that their payment is validated, and that way any capability that they use that has an additional charge will be charged to their credit card. Next up is adding additional staff members from your business. So you come over here to the left side, hit My Staff, and then you can come up here on the top right, add user, and then fill in their information. If they have a profile picture, you can put it there. First name, last name, email, phone. If they have an extension, you can also give them a specific password if you want, or they can set up their password when they log in for the first time. Then you can give them a calendar if calendars are made already. Later, we're going to build calendars in a future video, so you may not have any calendars, but you can assign it to them if you do. You can set up their signature for them if you want, maybe a company logo every time, for example. And then on the left side, you're going to give them roles and permissions. These permissions are what allow this team member to access all these other features on the left side. So just click through them one by one, read them carefully, and accept. There's quite a few. One thing you'll want to begin with is determine whether they're going to be an administrator so they can add additional users and they can do all of the things you can as a business owner, or you simply want them to be a user, and in that case, give them limited permissions. Once you're done checking all of these boxes or whatever you're comfortable with giving to your staff member, then go ahead and hit save, and that'll be all of their permissions. Under that, you have call and voicemail settings. So you can see if you want to forward calls to them and how do you want to do that. Mobile app, web app, desk phone, my phone, and then default channel for ring all. Do you want inbound calls to ring to everybody in your team, for example? This would be the place to do that. And then IVR, if you want information, somebody to call in, and then press 1 for sales, press 2 for marketing, for example, or whatever the tree is. You can set that over here. And then incoming call timeouts, how long do you want it to keep ringing before it hangs up or goes to voicemail rather? And then over here is where you would upload your pre-recorded voicemail. You can use some kind of an audio recorder, and as long as it does MP3 or WAV files, you can go ahead and upload it here and then hit save. Next is the user's availability. So not you as a business owner, but your staff member. Assign their time zone, which is super important so their calendar is synchronized, and then determine what their duty hours are or when they can accept appointments. Hit save. Last but not least is calendar configuration. And inside the calendar configuration, it's going to look like this. You can set up a third-party Google Calendar, for example, that'll have all the inbound appointments going and synchronizing onto their Google Calendar this way. And if they are sharing their calendar, you can hide sensitive details on that calendar by switching this toggle on. And then you also have the ability for video conferencing. So when they have inbound appointments and they want to set up a Google Meet on that appointment, for example, it may be a virtual or telecall, for example, this is how you would synchronize that as well. And then once the account is set up, you get this last option, which is notification settings. And in here, you can determine how you want the staff member to receive notifications of inbound appointments and such. So give those a read and pick the ones you want and then hit save. Next, we have opportunities and pipelines. These are the leads that your business is going to track all the way from new lead to closing and then even long-term nurture. So let me show you what's in here real quick. Opportunities and pipelines on the left side. Let's go to opportunities first. And you simply allow different owners of contacts and their opportunities. Just make sure those are turned on and hit save. Go over to pipelines next. And in here, if you have a pipeline already created, you're going to see it here and you have the ability to edit it or delete it. These are the various stages that you would move a lead all the way through, from new lead all the way out to offboarding if they complete your course, for example, and then cancel. And if you wanted to create a pipeline, you could click over here and have sort of the serial view, but I'm going to show you a better way to create this pipeline. Hit back over here, top left, and then go into opportunities. When you click on opportunities, you're going to see pipeline over here as well. High level can be redundant sometimes. In this case, it is a different view, and I like this a lot better. These are the same stages that we just saw on the other screen, except now you're going to have little rectangles that are new, that are leads of contact information under each one of these stages. And you can simply drag and drop your leads all the way across, which can also kick off certain workflows in the background where you can get pretty advanced and build workflows and automations, or you can simply manually track every lead and get them all the way to this one stage, for example. You can also view based on filter, and over here on the top right, you can add additional opportunities that you can then move all the way through. Pipelines up here, second tab, is that same view we saw on the other screen. It's the one with all the top to bottom looking stages like this. And then you can also do bulk actions, which we don't have any right now. So that is opportunities and pipeline. Next, we have automations. HighLevel has a ton of automations that can really help build your business and make it more efficient. On the left side, we have automation over here. Now this is mainly the management of it all. So a notification, for example, if one of your automations does not work, who would you want notified? So you would turn that on and then hit the drop down and pick one of your administrators or your entire team, for example. And then you can pause certain workflows if something is going haywire or incorrect and you want to pause it really quickly. This would be the place to come and do that. Or you can set particular schedules for those workflows to kick off as well. Now, to build the actual workflows is not in this automation over here. You have to hit go back, and then it's the other one with this little play button next to it. Click on that, and these are all the workflows that I have. You can certainly build ones by clicking on create workflow. Let me give you an example of a workflow. I have some here in the folder. Click over here to confirmation and reminders. So whenever an appointment is booked, we have a workflow that can automatically trigger based on the appointment being confirmed on a calendar, and then move that lead from the new lead stage in the pipeline over to discovery call scheduled. And then it sends the customer a confirmation email saying, thank you for booking your appointment. Your appointment is at such and such date and time. And then 24 hours before the appointment, it sends another reminder email that, hey, you have an appointment coming up in 1 day. And then 1 hour prior to the appointment, sends another reminder email that you have an appointment coming up in 1 hour, and then also sends them a text message. That's an example of an automation workflow. This would happen immediately whenever somebody books an appointment. Next up is calendar. That's over here on the left side, right about in the middle. And this is where you would set up a calendar for every one of your team members. And you can see we have plenty of them. So you can go over here, top right, new calendar, and you have 4 options. A personal booking is just a typical calendar that you would be used to today. Somebody makes an appointment on your calendar and you go to your appointment. The other one is a round robin, meaning it's a calendar and then you have all of your staff members assigned to that calendar. And when a customer books an appointment on the calendar, it goes to your staff members one by one in a round robin fashion. Then there's a class booking where one host meets multiple participants. So think of it as a classroom. And then the opposite of a classroom, collective booking, which would be if you were showing up to a board review, for example, or an interview panel where it's one participant, but multiple folks receiving the appointment. You can click on any one of these to build your calendar out. You give it a name, give it a description, and then the team member this calendar is going to be assigned to. You can give it a particular slug, which would just be a custom name, and then meeting duration that you want for your default calendar event, in this case 30 minutes, and then the days, and then the particular times for the entire calendar, usually opening and closing hours, and then whether or not you want to charge somebody to make an appointment. This could be if you wanted to set up a $50 deposit for an estimate, for example. This would be the place to do that. And then hit confirm, and now you have a calendar. Other options, if you wanted to offer a service menu, like let's say massages, and then rooms, if you wanted to book a conference room, or equipment rentals, if you had a construction site or large construction equipment, or even vehicles that you want to rent out, this would be the place to do that. Then you have preferences up here, gives you the options for where you want to meet, whether it's on Google or a phone call or maybe a Zoom, and then you would integrate your feature in here. The time zone you want it to be visible in, and then save preferences, and then particular preferences for your account, what day the week starts on, whether you want these additional features, the language, and then which week, and then another option to figure out which day the week starts on. I don't know why it's in there twice. And then availability for overall availability, and then connections, what we talked about earlier of third-party calendars you want to synchronize with, and that's calendars.